Good morning, sixth graders. Welcome to our technology class. So we're in week 19 now. So, whoa, oh my gosh. I can't believe we've been going on, but we've been doing good, hopefully. So you guys you're in the third quarter now. And if you are missing anything, so far we had our first lesson was last week. We did the first internet safety lesson, and then this is our second one. So really, we're in the second week, so it should, hopefully you're keeping up, okay? If you feel like you fell behind last quarter and you did nothing, or I don't know, you waited until the end, please make sure that you don't do that, okay? Because now you should be learning how to keep track of your time, right? And get everything done. All right, so let's see, where do I want to start? The typing. So again, you have another weekly typing assignment. So this week is the 2-page typing test. Last week was the 1-page. So hopefully I saw only 30% of you did it. So hopefully you keep up with the typing. That's an easy 100. If you finish the typing, you get 100 on it. Okay, and then last week you had a Google quiz. So I noticed only 3 people signed up for the Google class, Caitlin, Samantha, and Ling Ling. And all of you guys, the quiz is assigned to you, Finding Balance in Digital Web, but nobody actually took it. And then the rest of the kids, I don't know, I didn't even see that you actually signed in for the class. So you should have received the invite from me. You had to click on it and then just register with your Gmail account. And then you're in the 6th grade technology class. And then how it works is every week, the lesson has a quiz. So you just go into the Google Classroom and you take the quiz. And then after you take the quiz, it'll just automatically score it for you. Okay. So that should be pretty easy, but I don't want you to wait. If you're having problems with the Google Classroom, go in today and try, because now we're already into the second quiz. So I don't want you to get backed up, because they go every week, they go on with a new quiz. And so they're very short. They're like 5 questions or something. And it's just a review of what was taught in the lesson, right? So these are quizzes that are automatically part of the Common Sense Media curriculum. So please make sure that you take the quizzes, and make sure that you join the Google Classroom, so then that way you can actually take the quiz, okay? So let's see, I'm gonna go into the lesson for today. So today we're learning about don't feed the fish. And so maybe some of you guys are thinking, what in the world is this? We're going fishing today. I don't even like fish, but that's not what we're talking about. This is PHISH. So I don't know if any of you have ever heard of this word before. It's something that has to do with the internet and how sometimes people go fishing. And these are usually criminals, people looking to steal information, scam people, trick people into somehow giving up their information. And believe it or not, a lot of people do fall for these things because they think that they're real. And so hopefully we're going to be educating all of you so that you will not fall for the phishing scams, okay? And we'll take a look at some examples today. And we are also going to watch a short video helping us to understand how these criminals go about getting our information and what you can do to protect yourself. Okay. And so I know that a lot of you guys know, you're in middle school, maybe your parents have given you more freedom on the internet. I mean, I know you all have your own emails now, right? And you probably have accounts on other apps and websites and things. So you do, this is definitely something that's important. And especially as you get to become young adults, and then you're in college and you have your first job, you really want to have these skills inside of you to know how to navigate the internet in a safe way, right? And sometimes it's not like you're even looking to give up your information or something or fall for a scam. It's just that sometimes when you don't have the information and you don't realize that, oh, this is a red flag, something doesn't seem right, then it's easy for you to fall for the tricks. And especially when we're all so busy and, nobody's ever really just stopping and thinking sometimes about if it's okay to share something or put something on the internet. So how can you protect yourself from phishing? That'll be the main question of the lesson. We're going to talk about identity theft. We're going to talk about how to identify clues to help us know when something is phishing. So what's something you own that someone else might want to steal? Why? What would they do with it? So again, we can't really have a discussion about this because we're not together, but I'll just throw some things out there. Maybe you all have the new iPhone, what is it, 12 now, I think. And that could be something that someone would want to steal. Why? Because it's valuable. They could easily swipe it clean and resell it, right? And they could make money off of it. The same could be true about any device that's a costly device. Jewelry, if you have expensive jewelry at your house, that might be something that somebody would want to steal. Sometimes people go into homes and they look for, any antiques or expensive paintings or just cash. Why do they want to steal these things when people break into homes or, pickpocket? Because they're looking to what? Go and resell it and get money out of it, right? And so what do we do to protect ourselves? We lock our doors, right, at night. We lock our car doors. We make sure to keep our bags zipped up, and we try to do practical things to keep our stuff protected from being stolen. And the same thing is true when we're talking about the internet, right? You have to think about what you can do to protect yourself when you're using the internet from thieves, internet thieves, because they do exist. So what is identity theft? It's a type of crime in which they steal your private information and they use it for criminal activity. I've had this happen to me so many times, and I bet if you guys asked your parents, they probably had similar things, but I'll get a phone call from my credit card company and they will say, we had a charge on there for this amount of money at this store. Was that you? Because it seems like it's not a place that you normally shop at, and it's like a weird amount. And then I'll go and I'll think, nope, I've never gone there before. That was definitely not me. Somebody somehow got my credit card number and used it to purchase something. And now what the credit card company has to do is flag it as an identity theft or a fraud. And then they have to go and they have to issue a new credit card. They have to cancel the other number. And this has happened, gosh, since I moved to New York. I don't know why it's happened a lot here, but I'd say at least 5 times I've had it happen with the credit card where somebody, I don't know, was just buying something like at the mall or whatever. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. And they've had to mail the new credit card. So it's really annoying when stuff like that happens, but it does happen. And so it can be tricky sometimes, to know. I know you guys you don't have credit cards yet, but maybe, credit cards are a good way to build up your credit because you have something called a credit score. And when you turn 18, you're eligible to get a credit card and you can use a little bit each month and you make sure you pay it off each month, right? You never want to have this big credit card balance. That's not a good way to live. But you do want to be careful where you use your credit card, because I think that's what I learned is that maybe I was using it at places where it just wasn't safe. And it was easy for somebody at the place to get my number and then they write it or whatever they do, and then they're able to go and use it. And so you do have to be smart with these things. So I want to put on this video that I have for you guys, just a quick thing about identity theft. And then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more and we'll focus on what you guys can do to stay safe. So hang.
What is identity theft? Identity theft affects millions of people each year around the world. Crafty fraudsters can steal identities in a number of ways. Some fraudsters commit identity theft by stealing physical information. They do so by dumpster diving, stealing mail, or taking discarded devices like computers, printers, or phones that have not had their hard drives wiped. Sometimes they rely on social engineering, which is when the fraudster manipulates or tricks a victim into giving up information. A common form of this is phishing, where a fraudster impersonates a trusted individual or entity and asks the victim for sensitive info. These can also be stolen through high-tech means like malware or data breaches, where hackers target large organizations and steal the information of multitudes of employees or customers. Information stolen through data breaches is often sold on illegal trading websites. With many different avenues to grab your information, how can you protect yourself? Make sure that all documents containing any personal identifiable information are shredded before disposing them. If you or your organization is getting rid of electronics, make sure all hard drives are wiped or rendered unreadable before disposing, reselling, or donating them. Never send personal information via email. Reputable organizations will never ask for this. If you receive a phone call asking for information, ask to call them back. Find their official phone number online and call that number back to verify the claim. Avoid using unsecured public Wi-Fi networks where hackers can be lurking. Check your billing statements and credit reports regularly to spot any suspicious activity. If you or someone you know does become a victim of identity theft, freeze any affected financial accounts and freeze your credit report. File a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission if in the U.S. Report the incident to your local authorities. For more information on fraud, like identity theft, visit ACF.
Okay, so hang on 1 second. Okay, so I feel like that was hopefully a good video to just really summarize how identity thieves go and be able to access your information. So yes, believe it or not, people really do go through the garbage. It sounds so strange, right, that people would do that. But I actually had a friend recently over the quarantine. I was talking to her, and she said that her neighbor had some security cameras outside the house. And this is right here in Queens. And they picked up footage of a man going in their garbage can. He's untying their garbage bags and he's looking and he's taking papers out and putting them in his pocket. And I was just like, you're kidding, right? And somebody was really doing that. So apparently people really do this. And what are they doing? They're phishing. They're looking for account numbers. They're looking for social security numbers. They're looking for any private information. And all of you guys, you all do have social security numbers. And this is probably one of the most private pieces of information about you, because it identifies you, right? In the United States of America, that is the number that you use when you are pretty much applying for different things. And I know you guys are just kids now, but it definitely is something that for you to just know for the future is a very private piece of information that you would never want to just have that on a paper and just crumble it up and put it in the garbage. And so you saw in the video, they were talking about shredding. And there is such a thing as these like machines, like they have ones that you can even get at your house, and you put the paper through and it pretty much like shreds it into little bits. So you can never make it, you can never put it back together. And if you don't have one of those, what you should do is rip up your papers in little pieces where there's no way that anybody could ever put it together and figure out even what that is, right? And this is a good way with just paper, keeping yourself safe. But then you saw they talked about if you throw out a device, right, like a laptop or something, you should never just put it in the garbage. You think in a second someone's going to come snatch that up and be right on your computer. Every computer has a hard drive. And if you could imagine, that's kind of like the brain, the memory, it's like all the information on there of the computer, right? And so that needs to be destroyed before you can throw out the computer, right? And if you do not do that, and one of these thieves gets a hold of it, they could have access to everything, all your files and things, right on your laptop. And so you really do have to be conscious of, knowing that you can't just throw a device out, right? Because it does have identifying private information on there. And then they also talked about data breaches. So I don't know, you guys are sixth grade, but if you follow the news at all, but there have been some larger companies who have a lot of customers where hackers have gotten into their databases and they have been able to access accounts, private information about people. And I mean, it's crazy. Can you imagine if they get millions of people's private information, what they could do with that? And so it can be really tricky because nowadays a lot of our lives are online, right? But some of the ways to keep yourself safe is to change your password at least every 6 months. This is so important because, say, for example, there is a data breach at a company. Usually the hackers will get access to the usernames and passwords of the people's accounts, and then they can just go and get into the accounts. But if you're constantly changing your password, then even if they do get the information through a data breach, but you've already changed your password, it's going to be a lot harder. They'll probably pass over yours because it's not going to work when they type in your password because you've already changed it. So I know it can be annoying because especially remembering passwords. What I do, and I just have a little book that I keep at my place where I live, and I write down all my passwords and stuff, and I just try to keep it. I don't know. I mean, I know this is what I do, but there's other ways of things that you can do to try to keep your password somewhere and then just keep it hidden at your house. You can also start a protected sheet on your computer where like it's password protected. So that way, like, when you open up like an Excel or Google Sheets or something, there's a way where you can password protect it. And then you could keep your passwords typed in there. There's ways that you can, so that way, in case you do change it, like in a year, say you change your password twice in the year and then you forget it, that you can go and look it up if you keep it somewhere. But again, you do want to be careful, right? Because you don't want to have it somewhere where then somebody can access all of your passwords. So it can be a little bit tricky sometimes to figure out the best way to keep that information private. So what is private information? So private information is something that can identify you, right? So like if I just gave my first name to someone, Erica, there's probably millions of Ericas. So, yes, they know my first name, but it's going to be pretty hard to find me if they only know my first name. Now, if they know my first name, my middle name, my last name, it'd probably be a little bit easier, right? Because then they have my full name. My address, oh my gosh, they might as well come right over. You don't want to give out your address because they can find you, right? Even with an email address. I know it seems silly, but you don't want to just give out your email address anywhere and everywhere because the more places that your email address is out there, the easier it is, right, for people to identify you and find you and find out information about you. So you do want to be careful what you share. Of course, your social security number, we talked about that. Your date of birth, that can be identifying. Any other private information like about your family, any of their names, things like that. These are types of information that you do want to be cautious and not just blindly share that type of information, right? If it's part of something that you're doing, like an application or something, and it's legit, it's a safe site, it's an encrypted site, and it's okay to put the information. But if somebody just emailed you and was like, oh, hey, I need this, blah, 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 I need your bank account, you would never just email that, right? Because your red flag would go up and you'd say, oh, that's private. I'm not just going to send that through the internet, right? So you do want to be careful. So thieves use others' information. What do they use it for? Well, they could use it to cyberbully someone, right? If somebody knows enough about a kid in their class, I mean, the damage can be pretty crazy what they could do to somebody on the internet. I've had a few friends in the past who've had their Facebook accounts hacked into, and people would impersonate them and send messages to other people pretending to be them. And it can be really, really damaging. because especially if the person who hacks in is like, saying things that are just not very nice, right? Just really tarnishing someone's image, and doing that on purpose through the internet, that's a form of cyberbullying, right? They could create false documents. So if they know enough about you, they could go in and apply for different things with your information, apply for a new credit card. I mean, I've even heard stories of people who have applied for mortgages with someone else's identity, right? And then the person finds out, wait a minute, I don't have a house in that state, right? And it's crazy. Buy things with others' money, right? They can go just like with my credit card in the past. They've gone out and shopping sprees at the mall and using my credit card, right? They could get loans, jobs, driver licenses. I mean, the extremes of the identity theft can be overwhelming. And then it's really unfortunate, but it's very hard for the person whose identity has been stolen. A lot of the times they have to prove that they really are them. They're the real person. And you could imagine that's got to be frustrating and such a hard thing to have to deal with. So you really want to try to protect yourself so that way you don't get in a position like that. So an internet scam. So this is when they're trying to trick you. So maybe they send you an email and they're like, they know your name. They're like, hello, Jamie, you've won the $1 million jackpot. Just click right here. Put your first name, last name, birthday, social security number, address, email address, and we will send the money right to your house tomorrow. And then you're just like, oh, yeah. But a lot of the times, I think hopefully most people realize, no, you didn't just win $1 million in the internet. But it might look something like Amazon is emailing you. And it'll say, hi, this is Amazon. We've had a problem with your order. Please click here and put in your information, log into your account. Those are red flags. If you ever get an email from like Amazon or some place that you have an account and it says that there's a problem with your account and log in through the email, what you should always do is go directly to like Amazon.com and sign into your account from there, and then check in the message center or check any alerts through your account. If they were really contacting you, you would see it in your account. You would not need to click through the email. So I think this is probably one of the easiest ways, because people think, oh no, there's a problem with my account. And maybe sometimes the email could even be legit. But at this point in time where we are at with all these scams on the internet, you almost have to treat any email that you get as a possible scam. And you need to kind of be smart about it and say, I'm not going to just put my information right into this email. I think I'll call up the company myself directly and I'll ask them, right? And I'll find out if there really is a problem with my account. And so you do almost have to, you have to be really smart about how you handle certain things. So we've already talked about phishing, right? So they're looking for information. They're trying to see if they can get you to give it up to them. So let's look at some of these up here. This one is a tweet, world's weirdest pet, peek and retweet. So what do you think they're trying to get you to do here? Peek and retweet. They're trying to get you to click on the link, right? They want you to follow them. And I think this is probably another one that is always, always, always coming out there, because people make money on the internet by people clicking on their things, on their blog, on their video, on their link, right? And then forget it. If they follow and they like it, you're making them even more money, right? And so what do you think they're doing? They're fishing for clicks. And so maybe they're not trying to steal your information, but they're definitely trying to waste your time, right? Because you don't get anything out of it. You're just like giving this person something, right? And then you're probably wasting 20 minutes. You're like, oh, world's weirdest pet. You click on it. Before you know it, like 30 minutes went by. You're like watching the video about the pet, and you've wasted like all this time. And you're like, what in the world did I just get out of that? Besides wasting 20 minutes on a world's weirdest pet thing. Here's this one, Gen Z. Awesome Video Games will give away free subscriptions to the first 200 people to repost. Good luck. Here's the link. So what do you guys think? You're going to click on it? You really think you're going to get the free subscription? I don't know. So again, they're probably just it could be real. Maybe the first 200 people really do, or it could just be a scam to just get you to click, right? And so you have to think, do we really want to waste your time on this, right? Here's this one. Dan says you have the flu. Sorry you can't be here for the school play. But guess what? You can watch live at, and they sent you a link. So it looks like it's like a friend sending you a message. So looks like it could be okay if you clicked on it, if you really are sick. If you're not, then that's pretty creepy. And then here's this one. It's coming in on your phone. You've got cash. Hi, this is to inform you that the official Bank of US wish kindly to send you the amount of $2,000 from your relative. Click here for the instant transfer. Get money now. Okay, there's so many misspellings in this. I sure hope you're not going to click get money now. Okay, so I'm here to tell you guys, please do not click on these links. They're a waste of time. They're scamming you. They're phishing for your information. They're not giving you $2,000. I hate to burst your bubble. They're giving you nothing, okay, except a headache. So please don't click on these things. They're such a waste of time. So hopefully this is, I don't know. Hopefully you guys are like, oh yeah, I know, I don't do that. I sure hope so. A shortened URL. So this can also be tricky too. So with a website, www.pcanyc.org, that's the website for the PCA school. Sometimes what they do is they shorten the URLs. So it's a long website over and they make it into this short thing. So that could be tricky too. So that could be like a red flag that this doesn't really look like a real website. This looks like it could be a scam, and so you do want to kind of keep a lookout for those things. Okay, so let me show you guys about what you're going to be working on. So everybody's going to get this sheet. So it has a few questions on it. And pretty much you just have to select do it or don't. And so there are little scenarios about if this was happening, what should the person do? Should they do it or should they not? So these are trick questions. So please make sure that you answer these questions. And then hang on one second. Oh, so you know what I just realized, and how silly. So this is actually the quiz. For some reason in the lesson thing, they put the quiz on a paper this time instead of, so you don't have to take it in the Google Classroom. I mean, I guess I've already put it in the Google Classroom. So I guess for the quiz part of the lesson, I'll email you this sheet. If you would rather just mark the answers, it's 3 questions for the quiz. You can just do that. Or if you want to do it in the Google Classroom, it's up to you, as long as you do it. I'd probably just do it on the paper. It might be easier. But your actual lesson that you have to do for homework is where you're going to go through there's a few scenarios here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. And then next to each one, there's a blank box. So these are the phishing clues. So you're going to fill in the phishing clues for each one. So for example, sense of urgency. When the sender says you only have a limited time to respond, that would be a red flag for phishing. Spelling and grammar errors. So a real company does not send out messages with those kinds of mistakes. Alert, alert. The message sounds urgent, making you worry that something is wrong with your account. That's another red flag. Friend in trouble. You see a photo of someone you know, but the message isn't really from them. Oh my gosh, that is so creepy, but it does happen. That's a red flag. It's phishing. The shortened URL, a web address that's condensed and could mislead a user into going into a risky website. Too good to be true, like free money or prizes, and a generic or missing greeting. So any of these, so you're going to just write the ones, type the ones for, like, for example, Let's do the first one together. Friends, Gramps dropped me off at the airport to fly home and someone stole my backpack. Whoever did this has my ticket, the debit card mom gave me. I am so embarrassed to ask, but please PayPal me emergency money before I miss the last flight. My parents will pay you guys back at school Monday. Thanks, guys. Okay. So already, what are we seeing? It's definitely an alert, a friend in trouble, a sense of urgency, right? So you would just start writing those, typing them in here, okay? And then what would you do? Definitely you wouldn't be sending the money because it doesn't sound legit. You could contact the friend directly and say, hey, is everything okay? Because I just got this weird message from you and it doesn't sound like you, right? And so you do want to make sure that you are being smart about this. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to type in which of the phishing red flags are for whichever one that you're going through. So there's 5 of them. So that's your homework. And then I'll just email you the quiz too. It's 3 questions. So just do the quiz and then do your typing, and that's everything. Okay, guys? So whatever you do, don't get caught in the phishing scams. Okay, be smart on the internet. See you guys. Bye.